Hello horror fans, Dr. Udru here, and this time I'm looking at John Carpenter's In the Mouth of Madness from 1993, so hold on tight, because reality isn't what it used to be. In the Mouth of Madness begins with Dr. Wren visiting a psychiatric hospital during an unknown cataclysmic disaster. There, the good doctor interviews patient John Trent. Trent's story starts when a crazed man interrupts his lunch to ask him a question.
Do you read Sutter Kane?
Trent, an insurance investigator, meets with the director of Arcane Publishing to inspect a claim. It turns out the crazed, axe-wielding man was the publicist for missing horror author Sutter Kane, and Arcane needs Trent to find him and his latest manuscript. After spending a night cramming some Kane, Trent discovers a secret map hidden in the covers of the author's work. With that, Trent and Kane's editor, Linda Stiles, hit the road in search of the supposedly fictional town of Hobbs End. But when they find it, they discover the town and its residents are a little too similar to those found in Kane's stories. In fact, I'm pretty sure one of them is a Carpathian.
He's Vigo! You're like the buzzing of flies to him!
In the Mouth of Madness was written by Michael DeLuca in the late 80s. DeLuca was inspired by the more cult-like followers of authors L. Ron Hubbard or Stephen King, as well as the ancient otherworldly demigods from the works of H.P. Lovecraft. When offered the film in 1988, director John Carpenter initially declined. Over the next few years, both Hellraiser 2 director Tony Randall, as well as Pet Sematary director Mary Lambert, were attached to the project. Eventually the script came back around to Carpenter in 1992, and he rewrote it with the help of writer Evgenia Sikowitz. Filming took place from August to October 1993 in and around Toronto, Ontario. Scenes at the asylum where Trent is committed were shot at the R.C. Harris water filtration plant. The Valhalla estate stood in for the Pickman Hotel, and the film's hysteria-inducing climax made use of the Eglinton Theatre. Meanwhile, nearby Markham, Ontario stood in for the town of Hobbs End, with the Cathedral of Transfiguration playing the part of the Black Church. During the long take of Stiles in the hallway of the Black Church, technicians quickly removed a wall and a table to surreally reveal Kane's true lair. The car keys swallowed by Stiles were made out of pasta, the pulsating door holding back Kane's menagerie of monsters was made of rubber, and the torn paper the creatures run out of was made of metal foil. Lastly, the tunnel the monsters chased Trent down was actually a 120-foot long forced perspective set. The film's makeup effects were created by Robert Kurtzman, Greg Nicotero, and Howard Berger, aka K&B Effects Group. Some of those infected by Kane's work were given split pupil contact lenses inspired by cellular mitosis. Mrs. Pickman's transformation was first shot using a mechanized quarter-scale miniature puppet. After wrapping, Carpenter expanded the scene to include dialogue, and a prosthetic torso was made for actor Frances Bay back at K&B in California. Unfortunately, most of the footage shot didn't make it into the film. For Stiles' transformation, she was played by a contortionist wearing an upside-down mask. For the so-called Wall of Monsters that chases Trent, a 22-foot wide steel frame was built, on which 14 operators controlled multiple puppets. On top of that, 3 more monsters were brought to life by performers in suits. Meanwhile, the visual effects of the film were created by Industrial Light and Magic, including the moving painting in the Pickman Hotel. The soundtrack to In the Mouth of Madness was written by John Carpenter and Jim Lang. For the film's opening credits, Carpenter had hoped to use Metallica's Enter Sandman, but wasn't able to get the rights. Instead, Carpenter and Lang wrote the theme themselves, which features guitar solos by Dave Davies of the Kinks. Several obvious nods to Lovecraft stories can be found in the Mouth of Madness. Prose credited to Kane are sampled from the pages of Lovecraft, including the descriptions of the Black Church as
the seat of an evil older than mankind and wider than the known universe,
and the cosmic void Trent stares into as
the illimitable gulf of the unknown.
The character of Mrs. Pickman takes her surname from an artist in Pickman's model. Even the titles of Sutter Kane's novels are derived from those of Lovecraft's. The Whisperer of the Dark from The Whisperer in Darkness, The Thing in the Basement from The Thing on the Doorstep, Haunter Out of Time from both The Haunter of the Dark and The Shadow Out of Time, The Hobbs End Horror from The Dunwich Horror, and finally the titular book itself from At the Mountains of Madness. Furthermore, the film's story is, for the most part, told in flashback by an insane narrator, a trope frequently used by Lovecraft. The film also takes place in a fictitious New England town, a trait common to the writings of both Lovecraft and Stephen King, the latter of whom is referenced directly in the film.
You can forget about Stephen King. Kane outsells them all.
In the Mouth of Madness also features a few references to other cinematic works. In his direction of actors Sam Neill and Julie Carmen, Carpenter was influenced by the characters of Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall in The Big Sleep, directed by his filmmaking idol Howard Hawks. Another inspiration for Styles was the performance of Rosalind Russell in Hawks' His Girl Friday. Dr. Saperstein shares his surname with a fellow MD from Rosemary's Baby, coincidentally played by His Girl Friday star Ralph Bellamy. The town of Hobbs End borrows its name from a subway station in the Hammer film Quatermass in the Pit, while the tagline for the book The Hobbs End Horror is pretty much a paraphrase of the tagline for the film Phantasm.
If this one doesn't scare you, you're already dead.
The film John Trent watches in the Woodbine Motel is Robot Monster, a childhood favorite of Carpenter's. Trent's dream within a dream jump scare was copied from Carpenter's earlier film, Prince of Darkness. Along with The Thing, In the Mouth of Madness and Prince of Darkness make up Carpenter's so-called Apocalypse trilogy. In the script's original ending, the entire town of Hobbs End was sucked into Kane's book, but due to budgetary constraints, was changed to have Kane rip himself apart like paper, revealing a cosmic void beyond. Another cutscene had Styles appearing at the movie theater during the film's closing moments, and a final fight involving tentacles shooting out of Trent's popcorn. Furthermore, as an added Easter egg of cosmic terror, the end crawl includes a credit for the Interplanetary Psychiatric Association. And in his first film role, Hayden Christensen lets us know what his favorite Paula Abdul song is.
Straight up.
This video was brought to you by the following patrons on Patreon, and requested by Jason LeBlanc. For more on In the Mouth of Madness, I recommend checking out Scream Factory's new Collector's Edition Blu-ray, and don't forget to subscribe and check out my other videos.